skip it. See it or skip it. See it or skip it.
Welcome everyone to a new See It or Skip It. We're going to be talking about him. Who? Him. Find out why soon. And we've got A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell are there just being adorable with each other. Plus we got what's out on streaming, a couple of great interviews. And I am here, of course, with Rebecca Frost, back from a long hiatus.
Yeah, 2 weeks. It feels like forever.
It kind of does. When you do, like, we've been doing this since March.
Yeah.
And pretty consistently, so.
I showed up today and I didn't think they'd let me in the building.
I did try to lock it.
Oh.
But then I was like, we still got to make this work. So Kent is gone completely, but that's okay.
Murdered.
Again, it happened again. But for now, let's talk about A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey.
So we live in the same city.
Are you gonna ask me out?
Would you like to be asked out?
Wouldn't be worth the risk.
You want it on your ring?
Please. This is the only ring I'll be getting from you. You headed back to the city?
I might make a little detour. I'm a big fan of scenic routes.
Me too. Why are you single?
I suppose I haven't met the right one yet. What about you?
I'm meant to be alone.
Do you really believe that?
This is your least favorite drama kid's attempt at a straight play. It's about these two people that meet at a wedding. They're driving these really old rickety cars that have magic properties where their GPS is wanting to have them relive trauma, but call it a extended journey.
Yeah, they rent these 1994 Saturn something or others, and Phoebe Waller-Bridge is super insistent that they take the GPS with the car as well. And
Very thick German accent.
Why? There's a lot of this movie that a letter is missing, boring, or a word is missing, boring. Big, bold, boring, beautiful journey, because I was so bored during whatever journey it was that they were taking, because though I guess the whole purpose of this trip is to show Colin Farrell and Margot Robbie's characters that they can be together despite their flaws.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, we've seen a lot of stories that are like this. That to me, there's a term called for it where it's like a passion project, or like something that's like, this is something that the actor really wants to do, and it might not necessarily be even for the audience that are coming to watch it. It also feels like this is just one of those where maybe there was a great idea as a concept, because conceptually it's something that you could actually go into and be like curious about, but they just don't do a lot with it.
They don't do a lot, and I think this movie would have succeeded if we had maybe some B-list or even C-list actors, because I think having Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell as the leads really took me out of the movie, because they're both so beautiful and so famous that I didn't believe them at all in this movie.
Well, and it's tricky because, like, you don't want to say, like, nobody that's this beautiful can be a normal person, right? But at the same time, when they're both together and he's got this really thick Irish accent and they're revisiting high school, and you're sitting there like, this is supposed to be very entertaining and I'm supposed to be laughing quite a bit at this, but the humor just doesn't really, it's very dry, it's very, like, internal, like, it feels like inside jokes at the same time.
Yeah. It was so boring. And listen, I love movies. You know me. I love movies.
You love movies?
I love movies. I think every movie is good. This one was so boring that I wanted to leave. But I have a rule. I don't walk out of movies, no matter how much I hate them. And I really, really wanted to like this one.
A movie can be way too long, and a movie can be way too short, and a movie can also blur time somehow and warp you into the sense of how long have I even been here, and it's maybe only been a half hour. This did this.
Oh my God, it went on for way too long.
Hour and a half, hour 45 runtime though. That's the surprising thing.
It felt like 6.
Yeah. So overall, this is not one even the rom-com crowd should go and check out.
No, because where's the romance? What do they have in common? That they were both kids once?
They were around each other for the wedding.
They were around each other for the wedding. Also, would love to talk to the stylist of the movie, because was the inspiration Taylor Swift? Because the entire time Margot Robbie looks like Taylor Swift.
It's interesting. Well, it's a lot of like flowy gowns and things, right?
No, not even. It's more like baggy for example, baggy cardigan.
Well, didn't she she just recently had a baby too, right?
She did.
Maybe it was just something to do with that, where it's like...
Well, I think they filmed this before.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we tried to give you an excuse for this movie, but
I don't know.
it's
Also, so the Colin Farrell role was supposed to be Cillian Murphy.
Ooh. Dodged the bullet there, Killian. Good job. Yeah. Well, yeah, this is sadly a skip it for me. I don't think this is going to be one that you should go and check out in the theaters. In fact, this week this might be a little tough one for people that are wanting to have a fun theatrical experience, because we need to talk about him.
Who?
Him. They. What?
We.
Why? Yeah, why is actually probably the better question with this.
You won't play at your highest level. You won't be a legend. Let me tell you something. This ain't a game. Who are they? Just gonna toss the ball around a little. In this game, violence is rewarded, so learn to enjoy it. Get your together!
This is from producer Jordan Peele, that has made some incredible horror films. Us, Get Out. This is taking us into the world of football in a very cerebral, trippy, very aesthetically pleasing show that feels very much like Whiplash, where you have this mentor who is going to drive this kid into the ground because he thinks that he's going to be successful. There's a little bit of jealousy there. There's a little bit of rage. He's got a cult following that's all over him, but at the same time, not a lot is really dug into other than like surface level looks at this seemingly crazy compound where so many people are just like praising him for everything.
Yeah, the movie presents a lot of really interesting ideas about like football as a cult, the brutalism of football, the pursuit of perfection. There's a lot presented there that could have been a really interesting movie, but instead it feels like a music video where there's a lot of really cool segments that are there but not really strung together by anything cohesive.
Yes. Now, performance-wise, though, I'm not going to say that those are bad at all. In fact, Marlon Wayans gives one of his best performances in this.
Marlon Wayans, the lead actor, I can't remember his name, who plays Cameron Cade, he phenomenal. He doesn't have a lot of lines,
but he does hold it up. Like, he has a good presence for it.
Yeah. Surprise standout of the movie, Jim Jeffries, who I had no idea was in this movie. But every time he's on screen, I'm like, yeah, he's crushing it.
There's a new thing happening in Hollywood ever since The Joker, where it's like, hey, we've got a psychological thriller. How about we throw a comedian on the side that's kind of like looking to the side of what's going on.
Yeah, and there's also like a whole thing about like race within football.
Well, ownership. Like,
ownership,
specifically, like somebody that spends their entire time trying to be the best athlete possible, right? Then they get scholarships. Then they get opportunities. But there's these talent scouts that start watching you from when you're in middle school in some cases. Like, there are some families that have trained for forever. Look at the, we watched King Richard, right, a few years ago. Seeing how those two girls were basically raised into this sport. There's a little bit of weirdness to, like, if you're an owner of that team and you help to bring the, like, grooming, essentially. They talk about grooming.
Yeah. Yeah. What's crazy is I liked this movie a lot more than I liked A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey. Even though it didn't have much to say, I can tell it's there. The stuff for a good movie is there, and I can tell Jordan Peele saw it too, because he picked this up to produce it. And I also think this movie's being extremely mismarketed, because if you talk to people, they're like, oh, the new Jordan Peele movie's out. You have to go, oh, no. It's not Jordan Peele who directed it. He produced it. So his fingerprints are there, but overall, hard to watch, too. Like, really hard to watch. I think football's hard to watch already.
Is there ever a produced by where you feel safe in what you're going to watch is actually going to be as strong as that director? Like, is there a director that is like, I'm only going to put that produced by credit if it is great, or the GOAT?
No, you should have asked me earlier when I had time to think about it.
I don't know, Spielberg does really good with some of his exec producer stuff.
Ron Howard.
But that is a tricky thing that audiences need to be aware of. When you see these trailers that come up and they put the biggest name that you could recognize in the boldest, largest font, might not still be the director.
Yeah.
Or like from producer of Get Out, Jordan Peele, but that's really small.
Typically like a Jordan Blum or Jason Blum from Blumhouse, right? If you see a Blumhouse production logo, it's kind of like pizza, right? Like, it's not all good, but it's pizza, and it's going to be a crowd pleaser.
Oh man, I think this will be something interesting. I don't know if the NFL crowd are going to love it completely. I don't know if the Jordan Peele fans are going to feel like it fulfilled everything that they wanted.
Yeah.
It's just kind of there.
I'm not entirely sure who this movie is for.
I think maybe it's the crowd that just want to kind of get their toes a little wet in this psychological horror stuff, and not too much. Maybe a little experimental body horror stuff, but again, that even doesn't go as far as I think it would.
I guess.
It starts at the beginning pretty intense, but it just from there kind of drops off. But overall, I do think it's one that some people will go and watch, but for me, it's got to be a skip it. What about you, Rebecca?
Skip it. I have seen people, before I saw the movie, comparing this movie to The Substance, calling it The Substance for boys. For me, it's more Suspiria for boys. Like, if you saw Luca Guadagnino's Suspiria from 2018, it reminded me a lot of that, especially how it goes totally off the rails at the end. Not entirely earned, by the way. Like,
No.
The ending is crazy, and I love it when a movie goes crazy, but it definitely wasn't earned, so skip it.
Yep. Well, sad to say, theaters, go check out. We saw The Long Walk last week. Incredible.
Go see it again.
Incredible film.
Yeah.
And I love that we got to moderate that stuff at the theater. That was so much fun.
It was so much fun.
That is still out, and we didn't give it enough credit last week. Definitely see The Long Walk this week. But if you want to stay home, you want to be in the comfort of your own home, don't do it just yet, because we've got one more in theater, and it's called London Calling.
What are you doing in LA?
I can't go back to London because I killed Freddie Darby's wife's cousin. Who's Freddie Darby? He's my old boss back in London. I haven't seen my son for over a year.
Maybe I can get you safe passage back to London.
Anything you need, you name it.
This is my son, Julian. Hello? He's kind of like Rain Man, but really sucks at math.
He needs to become a man, and that's exactly why he's coming on the next step with you.
Now, this is a crime thriller about this guy that basically killed the wrong person in London, has to escape and go to LA. Now he's faced with having to work with another boss who has this kid that he wants to help have a role model that's also an assassin, teach him to be strong, to be like Drill Bit Taylor, basically teach him to be tough and stuff. And so now we've got Josh Duhamel as the lead in this, trying to navigate not being caught for fleeing and avoiding all of that stuff, but also he's got this kid now who was from the It movie, the guy that loved New Kids on the Block. He's the kid in this. I think it's a pretty fun movie. These mid-budget films that are like just meant to be enjoyable and like action heavy fighting styles that are actually cohesively shot. It's not like a complete like Bourne Ultimatum, shaky cam, put it in a paint can shaker and hope that people know what's happening. We had a chance to actually talk with the star and the director of this. Take a look. When it comes to these types of films, to me, I think the make or break is whether someone is able to follow the action as they're going. What was it that was most important to you going into this film that made you want to make sure that the audience was following along properly?
I think honestly it starts with character. I think that started with Josh. You know, Josh and I had been talking about this film. I got him the script and, you know, we decided we were going to go make it. And I think that, you know, when you look at this sort of genre, especially action, if you are invested in the character and there's something that is an anchor point that's grounding it and there's heart, I think everything else becomes that much more easy to follow. And it's more forgiving for audiences if there's certain flukes or goofs that sort of don't always add up. And so for me, it kind of will always start with the character. And in this case, the relationship and the chemistry between Josh and Jeremy.
He does like those gunshots though. Yeah, he does like that those explosions and gunshots. Sometimes I was like, the scene in the room where I fall out the window. That was originally like, okay, dude, that's just too many gunshots. It's too many. Somebody's gonna get shot here. It's just, but you know, you're right. He does really map out what the action should look and feel like, so it is easier to follow. Because I'm with you. Sometimes I watch, I'm like, what? Okay, how are they? How do you end up there? And so it's a really valid point because sometimes it can be too much.
The geography gets lost. Yeah.
What was something, Josh, that Alan, whether it was giving you a note or something for like a scene that surprised you in the process, and Alan, vice versa, what was something that Josh had done with the character that maybe you weren't expecting?
You know, you always read something a certain way, and then you see what the director has in mind when you get there. And so I was like, okay, you got to wrap your head around what the director sees. And so all the time you're like, okay, so how is this going to make sense? And I think that, you know, one would be out in the desert. You know, how do I show up there without them hearing my car coming. You know, things like that. And in the movie, you just got to trust the director goes, okay, with sound and, you know, edit, it will all make sense. And you trust that. And sure enough, when I saw the movie, it did make sense.
It's a great question because we established a lot of trust on Bandit, having worked together before. And so there was that room for, you know, interpretation and bringing different ideas. So specifically, I mean, there were a lot of different things that we talked about, but I'd say early on, Josh wanting to wear a bald cap and an earring was not something I had on my bingo card. And at first I was a little resistant to it. And I was like, okay, look, Bandit was all about disguises. This is a different movie. Is this just you wanting to get back into prosthetics again? And it ended up being a great idea and it worked. And we ended up fighting about the earring. I said, okay, I'll tell you what, maybe not gold, maybe silver. That's where we ended up like going back and forth and compromising. But that was sort of, but again, we were trying to create contrast between London and LA and what his life looked like to what it is now. And it was just a really great detail. And that's what Josh does. He brings these amazing little details to round it out that you as a director are not expecting.
Well, now I need to know, what was that initially the reason that you went to the prosthetics, or did you legitimately, I want to be in a ball cap again?
Well, I think that it was visualized the difference in his life and where he thought he was, you know, he not realizing that he's probably past his prime. And at this point, he felt like he still was, but you shoot the wrong guy at a party and people have been telling your sight's not what it used to be for years. Suddenly you're like, oh, maybe my sight isn't what it used to be. And so I think that, you know, then you cut to a year later, he's not that clean-cut Jason Statham badass that he was. Now he's a bit of a, you know, down and out character who's just trying to, you know, scratch out some kind of a life in Los Angeles when he's really missing his family back in London.
Final question real quick, just because we were talking about movies that just feel good, right? These 80s action films, and this is kind of a throwback to that. So I just want to know from both of you, what's your favorite action movie? Josh, if you want to go first.
Ooh, geez, my favorite action movie. I think of the car chase from Bullet, Die Hard. It's awesome. You know, there's a lot of action movies that I could refer to.
My favorite action movie is The Rock. Funny enough, he says Michael Bay, but The Rock is, I live and die by The Rock. It's not a buddy cop movie. I think Midnight Run would be my favorite, which sort of has a little influence here, but yeah, 96, The Rock.
Awesome. Well, hey, thank you both again. Very much appreciate it. Looking forward to getting this up to people.
Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Would you consider Josh Duhamel an action star?
Yes.
Whoa.
The amount of transform. I think there's a rule that if you've been in more than 4 Michael Bay films, you honorary title of action star just by way of you are around so many pyrotechnics and explosions. You're gonna have to learn something.
You know your way around a green screen.
You have to learn to jump, you know.
You learn, yeah.
Hey, if I were to jump in any height of those, I just look at my knees now and I'm like, they'd explode immediately.
Yeah, hard pass.
Yeah. Well, you don't have to jump around for this unless it's for joy. Haunted Hotel is out, and it is haunted season. Like, we're getting into fall, and this is an animated horror show that's kind of like adult animation. It's from the creators of Rick and Morty, so there's a lot of fun stuff to be had in it. Think of any of your traditional horror trope people, like your Michael Myers and people. They're going to this hotel and staying there, and this is about a family running a hotel full of ghosts, ghouls, goblins, all of those. I thought it was so much fun.
And Adam Sandler's nowhere to be found?
No, this isn't Hotel Transylvania, but we do have Jimmy Simpson. It really, Will Forte is in it as well. I was about to say Paul Rudd.
Nope.
They're similar-ish. Okay, well, I'm sorry. We also have interviews with the stars of that, so take a look and let us know what you think of Haunted Hotel. I'm so excited to meet you all. I've been very big fans for a long time. Some Scrubs, It's Always Sunny. Jimmy, even Rose Red. Like, I've been such a huge fan.
Throwback. Talk about
Had
horror.
to drop that since we're talking ghosts and
Yes,
stuff, right?
yes.
When you're dealing with animation and you're working with talent or you're yourself working on a character, is it more influencing to see like the actual art and the animation as opposed to looking at the character on the script, or does it depend which story it is?
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I mean, it's very circular, but in the typical production process, the animation and especially the color animation comes much later in the process. But later in the season, as we started to like get animation back, because you get episode by episode, we saw how they were like making the characters move and like, oh, they're giving Abaddon all these weird gestures. And that helped change the writing too. Yeah, it all feeds back on itself.
Eliza, was there anything that have you seen any of like the scenes so far, any of the episodes where a joke came out and you were like, wait, I didn't think that was going to land as well as it did?
I think for me, it's always when we have to do all the like grunting and all the like running and panting sounds, you're like, is that going to sound okay? As you're standing in a booth just going,
I feel like a lot of the jokes come from the editing too, not just in like the delivery, but how they end up shaping it for the whole overall story. If you were to have any type of like side hustle, Jimmy, for your character in the haunted hotel, what do you think it would end up being?
Oh, it would definitely be, it'd be probably about like dicing or slicing or some kind of food prep that involves sharp blades doing exactly what Abaddon would like to be done.
Oh, I would love to
He would find fascination in the precision of cooking, I think.
like Abaddon all of a sudden guest spots on The Bear.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's a great.
Or Texas Chainsaw Massacre. He's making
or
something with
or
what
that.
he's doing, yeah.
Which cast member between you two do you think would actually make a horrible hotel manager?
I micromanage everyone in my life. So yeah, no, I'd be fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd be fine.
I would do relations. I'm not organizing anything.
Yeah.
You can do
No, I'd outsource
together.
for that.
Okay.
Well, or we just do it together.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, perfect.
If you had like a classic monster character that you can put into this from any type of film or television, who would you be able to put in if there weren't any rights issues with any of them either?
Ooh, it's hard to think of. I'm thinking of like the Universal
I'm
classic
thinking
monsters.
too, I would love like the creature from the Black Lagoon to have like, because there's so much lore about not just that character, but how that costume was built and all that stuff. That'd be cool.
That's cool. Yeah.
And last question, for you guys personally, what is your favorite hotel amenity that you can't go without anytime you check in?
I like the bed.
Yeah, the bed would, if that weren't there, that'd be kind of problematic.
It's the blackout curtains.
Oh,
yeah, those are great.
Those
Normally
are good.
I'm in a
When you have
hotel
them.
for work that has a night shoot. If you don't have that, I don't sleep.
I like water, like good water,
Water's good.
bottled water. They put like little things in hotels, and it's like, what is that going to do?
Where's my jug?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Really, that's a fun show. I think everybody would like it. I think there's only 10, 11 episodes, so you can binge it through the weekend.
Where is it?
On Netflix.
Netflix.
Yep, and we've got one more Netflix thing to talk about a little bit later, but also on Disney Plus and Hulu is the Lily James film Swiped. This is about the creator of Tinder, her experience working in this really crazy, it almost feels like Fire Festival, just like everybody that works in that building is a little shady, but she's essentially learning a new way to date. She's creating this whole new thing that has taken over the entire world, kind of ruined dating for a lot of people. Like,
Yeah.
I remember first downloading Tinder, and the swipe thing is obviously addictive, but you start to feel less human the more you use it. And this film explores that a little bit. What psychologically that was doing to people who just saw people as something you could swipe left or swipe right for.
Crazy. So I haven't seen it. But that description of it makes me more interested in seeing it because I feel like I got the last chopper out of Nam because I had never.
Me too.
I met my husband before dating apps, so like I have never ever experienced one. I have used Bumble for friends. Unsuccessfully, but so I've never really experienced what it is like to use a dating app. And so you said Lily James. I like her, but you also said Dan Stevens is in it.
Dan Stevens also in it.
Big fan of Dan Stevens though, and you said he's doing an accent?
Oh yeah, well Dan Stevens, he shows up towards the middle of the film, but like everything he does, when he shows up, the camera just kind of zooms in on him, and that's all I see. But he held his own with Lily James, and I do love that there are different, the film is taking on a lot of different interpretations of bad male bosses, that like when you're in a culture that's dominated by men, and you're the only girl, and you are in a position of power,
Tell me more.
what is that like? Well, that's why I wanted you to watch it. I'm the only person that can say it now. Having known the female gaze at this point.
Yeah. Tell me what it's like to be a woman in the workplace.
What I know is men stink. How about that? Men, no good.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. And
It was at this moment that he knew he f***ed up.
this is awkward now. Dang it. It turned on me. I don't know. I thought it was pretty awful to see how she's treated, how she has to respond to others because she thinks that's the right way to handle it, because she doesn't want to get any trouble from other people too. When you're dating in working spaces, what that is like. They cover a lot of ground. I don't necessarily think that this is something there's a lot of lawsuits with this lady right now and a lot of NDAs to, like, she cannot talk about most things. I've never seen a movie that had so many disclaimers at the beginning and the end.
Whoa.
To be like, the likeness of these people, they might not have done anything. Maybe we just enhanced it. Who cares? Leave us alone.
Why make the movie?
It's an interesting idea. What do you think of this genre of we're going to glorify CEOs and do docuseries like Steve Jobs?
Movies about products, I think, are really fascinating. So, like Air, the Tetris movie, BlackBerry was really good. The Founder. I am interested in those types of movies. I hadn't really heard of Swiped, so. And especially after talking with you about it, I am curious about checking it out and seeing what it's all about.
Yeah, but I don't know anything about anything.
How do you get a job here, there, face?
All right, let's move into the Gen V season 2 is out.
I need your help. You need to go back to school. It was a mistake leaving you, all of you.
This school, it's become a monument to mediocrity.
The new dean, he was at Elmira. Now he's at fucking Godolphin, so something's going on, but we don't know what.
Vlog is resuming a research program called Project Odessa that was spearheaded by Thomas Godolphin. And I need you to stop it.
Officially, the first 3 episodes.
So I haven't, again, we're in the section of shows that I haven't seen, but huge fan of Gen V. I like it more than The Boys, because it's a spinoff of The Boys, takes place at Godolphin University, where superpowered kids go to school and,
Gifted youngsters attend a school. Very much the X-Men to their Avengers.
And I think it's better than The Boys. I think it's way more nuanced. I like the characters a lot more. I think and that's the point, right? Like, The Boys is supposed to be very in your face and offensive and out loud, right? Whereas Gen V takes a smarter approach to this type of life and how these kids have to navigate it.
Well, and it's the before and after too. Gen V is the before they become horrible monsters, right? Maybe who's turning them into said monsters based on where they're coming from, how they're being brought up in this school. There's a new person that's running the school right now who used to run the area in season 1 that, what was he also in? The Newsroom. I can't remember this actor's name, but incredible evil person. Worked really well for this. It almost reminded me of X-Men First Class, where you had Kevin Bacon's character. Yeah. He kind of has a lot of similarities to that.
Hamish?
I think it's Hamish.
I love him.
And this really talks about what it's like to have unlimited power and how it can be used, right? Invincible does that really well. And I think here, only the first 3 episodes of season 2 is out, but I think these storylines are actually going to end up being more powerful to me than Invincible.
Well, and I really like, too, how Gen V overlaps with The Boys, too. Like, there's plot lines from the first season of Gen V that show up in The Boys. And
characters from The Boys are in Gen V now. A few, actually. I don't want to spoil too much.
Homelander shows up at the end of season 1. Just great stuff. It's how I want to see my shows interact with each other. So Marvel, if you could take note.
And also, disclaimer, if you haven't seen any of these, or The Boys or Gen V, it's very gruesome. It's very bloody. This is a superhero show made for the adult audience, so don't bring your kid.
Dark and twisted minds.
Yeah, it's definitely not X-Men, but it's definitely worth checking out still. So it's a see it for me. And also, finally, we have Black Rabbit. Now, this is on Netflix right now.
What do you think happens? You don't pay back a loan for 3 years. Ain't such a big number for you, big deals. Here's the Black Rabbit. Everything's falling apart. My family, the restaurant, I'm holding on by the skin of my teeth. I didn't budget for you.
2 brothers that started this restaurant, the Black Rabbit, right? Jason Bateman, at some point, splits with his brother, and he gets caught up in a thing that leads to him having to very quickly escape that area and come back. He owes a lot of money. He's in a ton of debt. The restaurant's going to go under if they don't find a way to get the money. So they're going to have to do some, unsavory things to do that.
It's been I've seen so much promo from the both of them. So they presented at the Emmys together, and I was like, why are they together? And I guess Jude Law is just going to be handsome forever. That's just him. And then Jason Bateman was on Hot Ones this week, and Jude Law was on Jimmy Fallon, I think it was. They've been doing so much press for this show that, again, I hadn't even heard of until this week.
Well, to sum up what the style is, think The Bear, but way more crime syndicate-y kind of stuff, where if The Bear had way more troubles, and like maybe one of them killed a guy beforehand.
Is it funny?
There's some humor in it, but it's not necessarily as light even as The Bear. This is much more of a darker look at it. But Jason Bateman and Jude Law have great chemistry together.
And it's a series?
Yep, this is the series. You can watch the entire thing right now. It's a see it for me. I think, through the first 5 episodes. Really looking forward to seeing the rest. And Jason Bateman, how does that guy have hair like that still?
Dude,
I don't get that.
I don't know.
Demon work right there. That about does it for this episode. What do you think is the winner?
Oh, geez. I'm going to say Gen V, even though I haven't seen it yet.
Yep.
But also, one of my favorite shows, High Potential, was back this week. Really love High Potential.
On ABC.
On ABC. Strange New Worlds ended last week. And listen, I love Star Trek, but what was that finale?
Oh, no.
It was a bit rough, but overall the season was really good. But yeah, this week, I liked him, I guess, but I am going to say Gen V is probably the winner, even though I haven't seen it.
Do you mind if I change the rules because I made the game on this one?
Yeah.
So Real Housewives of Salt Lake also premiered this week, as did Dancing with the Stars.
I did watch Whitney's and Jen's.
Okay, great. So Whitney, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she did great in it.
Because she's a dancer.
Rob Irwin is going to win, and it was clear from the first dance.
Oh, really?
He tore the roof off. I've never seen, and granted, I watched Dancing with the Stars back in the early aughts, right? But this, I've never seen somebody start out that good. The way he slides onto the dance floor. We're gonna watch a clip after this.
Okay.
It's totally worth it. But Real Housewives of Salt Lake, I love those.
Those crazy
problematic women that will throw grenades at them and themselves just for the fun of it. They are amazing. They are stars, and I love all of them. I'm serious. It's so fun to watch them. Where they're gonna go, I have no idea. But we need to get them on the show. So Brittany, we need you on the show. We've already talked about this. We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, do it.
Well, in that case, that's our show. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. Rebecca, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me every week on the Geek Show podcast, every other week on TV Show in Space, and at @YouGrossRebecca on Twitter and Instagram.
Thank you so much for coming on. We are going to be off next week, so make sure that you watch us the following week, because we're going to be talking about One Battle After Another. Yep, the Paul Thomas Anderson, Leo DiCaprio movie that already is having crazy good reviews.
People are saying it's movie of the generation. It's really high praise.
But where will we be next week? FanX is happening, and Rebecca, you're going to be covering a couple panels.
Yeah, if there's a Star Trek panel, I'm probably on it. It's Star Trek panels. There's a Fantastic Four panel that I'm on. Alien Earth, there's an Alien Earth panel that I'm on. And I'll just be around.
Well, go say hi to her. Tell her that you love See It or Skip It, and make sure that you check out more of our stuff. The QR code is right there. You can scan that. Go to our YouTube that has more content, full interviews, like and follow our Instagram, all of that stuff. Thank you again so much, as always, for watching. Here's a sneak peek of what's coming out the week after next week.
You know what freedom is? No fear. Just like Tom Cruise.